everyone, my name's Andy and I'm down here at the bike shed where I'm a member. That's me off duty. On duty, I help to guard the Crown Jewels and the Tower of London. So my official title is Yeoman Warder of Her Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress, the Tower of London, and Yeoman of the Guard in Extraordinary. Bit of a mouthful that. So most people know us as Yeoman Warders, or more commonly Beefeaters, which is a bit of a nickname, but we certainly don't mind being called that. This is my bike. It's a BMW GS 1200 Adventure, but I suppose what's more interesting about my bike is where it's kept, and where I live in fact, which is inside the Tower of London. There are 37 of us in the tower, Yeoman Warders, and we all have to live in the tower. We live there with our families, and there's about 144 people currently living in the Tower of London. 12 of us are bikers, and we've got our own sort of bike club, impromptu bike club, and we like to go off and do little trips around, little ride outs, and a few trips around Europe. So for those of you a little unsure what a Beefeater is, I'm sure you all drink gin. It's that little fella that's on the front of the bottle there in the red uniform. That's our best uniform. But we guard and protect the Tower of London, and we've been doing that for centuries. To become a Yeoman Warder, you just need to do a minimum of 22 years service in Her Majesty's Armed Forces. I was a Royal Marine Commando for 25 years. It's a massive privilege to live in the Tower of London, it really is. But like everything else, there's always some drawbacks. I live inside a fortress with 2 concentric rings of walls 50 feet high and 28 feet thick in some places. I've got CCTV that covers every single inch of where I live, and actual armed guards, actual soldiers with actual guns patrolling around. I live 50 feet from the Crown Jewels, but despite all that, when you phone up an insurance company and give them your postcode, which for me is inside Tower Hamlets, they don't recognise that at all. Nobody wants to insure you, or they will ask ridiculous prices. I then, as a member of the bike shed, I phoned Vicky and asked her for some help. She was able to put me onto Devitt Insurance. We saw the funny side of my situation and were able to come up with a bespoke insurance that was more amenable to my wage packet and my bank account, and they've insured this ever since then. Okay, so earlier I mentioned that I'd served 25 years in the Royal Marines, and when you leave after that long, they give you a nice pat on the back, a bit of a pension and a lump sum to enjoy. I invested in this bike. It was one of my little treat to myself. The rest I wasted by helping to pay off my mortgage. What attracted me to this bike was that I had sports bikes for many years, but being over 6 feet tall and knocking on a little bit now, I was getting really uncomfortable to ride them, and I wasn't really riding it as much as I'd like to have done. So I decided to get something a little bit bigger. I'm not going to lie, I watched The Long Way Round, which has, I'm sure, inspired many people out there to go and buy a GS, and I was no different. So I bought the GS, seemed like a good idea at the time, and I've been very, very happy with it. My wife and I enjoy going out on it as well. We load it up with tents and other sort of camping equipment, and we head off into Northern Europe. We've had a couple of trips down into Switzerland, done the old switchbacks, which everybody likes to do. I've been an ex-military man and very interested in the battlefields in France, and northern France, Belgium, places like that, so I've used it quite often to go out there. Spent many a night camping on those battlefields, with the old spirits of the old and the dead soldiers there. So not your usual regular rides stuff with the old custom bike and everything like that, but nonetheless it's an interesting story. I hope you've enjoyed it, where the bike is kept. A slightly unusual and very unique place. Thank you very much. So don't forget, folks, please do subscribe to the Bike Shed YouTube channel, where you're going to find a lot more information about bikes, people, and interesting stories. It's a fantastic place, so please do go there.